Hey everyone. Anyways, I just wanted to give you guys some travel tips for Vietnam. So if you are traveling to Vietnam, please note that it is required for you to have an e-visa to enter the country and exit the country. So this is the U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Vietnam. This is the original website that you would apply for an e-visa. In order to apply for a visa, you will scroll down until you hit the Vietnamese e-visa's instruction. Please note that I will be sharing two very important tips on here. And so this just kind of give a brief overview, and this is where the instructions and application are online. You will click this here. Once you get here, this is the National Web Portal on Immigration e-visa page for Vietnam. You can go ahead and click personally apply for e-visa. And this is the most important part of this application. This is learning from my mistake, and I just wanted to share this with you. So when you are submitting a photograph, make sure you are not submitting the same photograph that is on your passport. I know this was very misleading because, we thought, okay, go ahead and just put the passport data image here, and then go ahead and just use that same photograph just because it's picture here. But that is the incorrect way to enter a photograph. Your photograph has to be just a selfie of you. It can be anything you take at the park, at home, just regular selfie. So you want to make sure that you submit a photograph that is not the same passport photo that you took in order for your e-visa to not get rejected. So I did run into this issue where I submitted the same photograph that I took for my passport, and that was rejected. But when the Vietnam embassy sent the rejection email, they did not go into details about what they needed. They just mentioned, okay, photograph rejected. Can you please submit another photograph? So I was like, okay, why is this not working? And then I had to give them a call and ask them over the phone, and they mentioned that your photograph can be any picture of you as long as it's a headshot. So that's very important. If you do not want your e-visa to get delayed or rejected, do not upload the same photo you took for your passport. And I wish that they would put that here, but there's no clear instructions, and you kind of learn as you travel. Um, The single entry, it says $25, but it was a little over 25. So it was almost 26. So, just wanted to let you guys know. The single entry is just if you're traveling to Vietnam and you're just staying there, you're not going outside of the country and you're only spending your vacation there, then you would select the single entry. For the multiple entry is if you're going to Vietnam, you're landing there, but you're planning to go to Cambodia, Thailand, Japan or something, then you will select the multiple entry because you will be traveling to other countries but flying back home from Vietnam. Okay, so once you get there and you read all of this, you go ahead and just confirm that and hit next. And again, this is the issue that I mentioned to you guys. Upload your passport, but take a selfie here. All right, and then the next important information is the requested information for grant e-visa valid from. Note that this is the day you are flying out of your country, okay? So that's a very, very important. If you don't select the day that you're flying out of your country, you will not be able to fly. The most important part of it is the 2 day. The 2 day is the day that you're flying back home from Vietnam, okay? So make sure you have that date. Even if you're leaving the next morning and your last full day is yesterday, you want to make sure that the 2 day is the day that you are flying out. So, for example, if you fly early in the morning on October 12th, you would make sure you put October 12th, not October 11th, because that's the last day you're in Vietnam. Okay, so the grant e-visa valid date is the day you are flying out from the country, and the 2 day is the day that you are leaving Vietnam from the airport. Okay. So just wanted to clarify that. These other questions are questions that you can probably enter on your own. Information about the trip, I selected tourism, so make sure you put tourism. They do want to know um, how long you're staying there, and you have to select the airport that you're going to land in and also depart from. So you'll make sure you um, enter in these two here, and they have an asterisk. So of course, you can't miss that. Um, for some reason, they do require an intended temporary residential address in Vietnam. So if you are planning to stay at relatives, you'll have to put in their address. If you are planning to stay in a hotel, make sure you check your itinerary and enter in that information. They just want the address and the phone number and the city of it. You don't have to, put in, you know, wherever you plan to stay the longest, but just your first stay while you're in Vietnam. So just wanted to make sure you guys go ahead and put that in. And then you'll go through all of this and just put the trip expenses and insurance, all that information, enter in the CAPTCHA, and then review application form submitted. Okay. Once you submit it, it does. I know their website says it takes a few days, but it actually takes a long time. So make sure that you are submitting your e-visa at least 2 months ahead. That gives you a lot of room to correct any errors on your e-visa application if you need to correct them. One thing is if you have any errors, they will send you an email just telling you what the error is, but they don't go into details about what you need to correct. As I've mentioned, the common issues that I had was, the to date and then also the portrait. The portrait was one of the ones where I was like, okay, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know why it's not going through. They're not explaining to me. I did some research, had to go through Google and try to find a contact number to call them. So I was able to contact someone, but it was from Vietnam. So I had a talk with them and they were able to explain to me that the portrait cannot be the same as your passport. It has to be just a selfie of you, any pictures of you, as long as it's a headshot. So they did go over the to and from date with me also, so that was clarified. But if you do not want to get rejected and then end up, you know, needing your passport right away, and then you will want to make sure that you actually get this done right, because if not, that can cause delay. And then if you're on your trip, now you're going to have to expedite your e-visa, and that can cost hundreds. It's about 250 per application, and that's coming from the Vietnam embassy in Vietnam. But if you're doing it from the, one from the United States, it's going to cost more than the 250. So make sure that you look over your application and make sure that is correct. Even going back to make corrections can cost you money once it's approved. So make sure you take a look at that. Another thing is if you have your to date incorrect and you decided to put the last full day you were there instead of the day that you're departing, you're going to get stuck at immigration. And what happens is immigration's a lengthy process. Not to mention their TSA process are pretty lengthy, but their immigration process is really lengthy. It can take about 3 to 4 hours. So you want to make sure you have at least 5 to 6 hours early at the airport to make sure you don't run into any of these issues. If you do, immigration will suck. And, you will have to pay a fee. My experience was we had several of the people that went on our trip and they had the wrong to date because they selected the date that was the day before instead of the day they were leaving. And that caused a nightmare. Immigration wait was about 3 hours, almost 4 hours long. And, you know, we had to keep bugging them. And then the first guy that came over to us was like, okay, just let them go, just get it done. And, it was supposed to be free. But then here comes the second guy who was trying to charge us like um, approximately like 100 something a US dollar. And then we didn't want to pay that fee. We wanted to get it corrected. We showed them proof that, we spoke with the embassy from Vietnam. We actually told them the date wasn't correct and they didn't make the correction and a lot of other things. And he seemed to just uh, not want to help us. And he kind of left us hanging for a few hours and we waited. And every time we asked someone, they would be like, oh no, it's being worked on, it's being worked on. But then we ran into a third guy and we asked him, he goes, oh, nobody ever worked on it. So that was very, very disappointing. So then he was able to help us and he was like, well, I'll do it for you guys for 50 US dollars. Holy crap. Now it makes me feel like I really don't know where my money went because, we have one guy that says free, one guy that says over 100 bucks, and then now we have a guy who's saying $50, and it's not even anything that they need to clarify with the Vietnam embassy. I'll tell you that. Uh, they didn't need to call anyone. All they needed to do was stamp it and sign it off that, we were supposed to leave on this date and time because they would verify our boarding passes or the receipt of our itinerary and just check it off and sign it off. But it's a third world country. They needed to make money. So in order for them to even want to sign that off for you, they'll randomly make up a price and make you pay for it. So do not um, make that same mistake and make sure your due date is the day that you are leaving the country. Uh, Goodness. And another important tip is make sure you do not spend all of your Vietnamese dong and make sure you have at least um, $200 or so in Vietnamese dong so that you actually have that money if you run into any issues because they do not take cards for the immigration. Um, and I think, for my personal opinion, I think the reason why they don't use card services is because it's not legit. Um, of course, anything legit, they will provide a receipt for corrections and whatever through the Vietnam embassy, but that was not the case. And so, I did feel like I didn't really know where my money's going. I was being a little bit scammed there, but you know what? We needed to come home and our flight was like in like 2 hours. And, thankfully we were there at least like 5 or 6 hours early. So we were able to, get back home on time. And they will tell you like, oh, the Vietnam embassy closes at 7 p.m. I will tell you this, that is true, but immigration does not need to verify through the Vietnam embassy. From what I saw was they just needed to stamp it, verify your boarding pass and your itinerary receipt, the actual receipt that this is the day that you are leaving and just sign it off and then you can board. But, over there, they want to make money. And so they'll just be like, we're not going to sign it off unless you pay. So please, please keep some change with you in case of anything. You never know what you're going to run into. And so, just wanted to share that experience with you guys. And I hope that this really helps. And again, um, the biggest problem we had while trying to complete our e-visa was the portrait photography because it doesn't tell us like, can we just take any picture? And so, yeah, just wanted to make sure you guys know that. And so hopefully this tip will help you guys. And if you are traveling to Vietnam, hope you guys have a great trip. I did have a great time there and a great experience. It was a humbling experience to be in a third world country to see what it's like versus being American. And I will tell you this, that I truly appreciate being American and it makes me proud to be an American because we just have it so good out here. All right.